Okay, it is September 16th, and I'm just going to say a quick prayer and then we're going to get going. Lord, we just thank you for this evening. I thank you for all the ladies that are on here and all the ladies in our unit. We have a lot of ladies that represent our unit, Lord, and we're just thankful for all of them. I'm especially thankful for these girls that show up on a weekly basis and just bless our time together. I pray that we can all kind of help each other this evening as we talk about some practical Mary Kay knowledge. And Lord, just help me to be have clarity and to speak with clarity. And we just do pray for those that maybe have difficulties right now or things going on in their life that are just hard. And we just pray that doesn't keep them away from us, that they know that this is a safe place and they can be with us all the time. And it's in your name we pray. Amen. Okay, let's see. I have a little list here. First thing we're gonna do is a little bit of reco. And Debbie, I wanted to make sure, did you say your sales were like $98? Is that what you said? Okay, I wanted to make sure I understood you right. Okay,
Yes, and I didn't realize when I did that I was $2 away and I didn't sell anymore. So shame on me.
I know
Won't let
sometimes
that happen again.
yeah, I know sometimes that happens. You have to to track that you have to look at your sales daily, and sometimes we do it weekly, which is still good. Weekly is still good. So, but you did have $98 in sales, and Dawn had $18 in sales, and Jody had $656 in sales. Woohoo! And I had $451 in sales. So Jody was Queen of Sales, which I'll ask you here in a minute about that. But both Jody and Dawn did one power hour, and Jody did two faces and one share. And Jody had three bookings, and Dawn had two bookings. So that was good. So Jody, tell us, was it your faces for your $656, or was it reorders, or both, or
All the above. Yeah, it was good. I had a lady come, had three ladies that were supposed to come on Saturday to our fall debut, our fall open house, and had one come in and she ordered a bunch of stuff, and then I had a face from one of our vendor shows, and then just resale.
Yep,
Yeah.
that
So
was good.
very productive week. And I didn't, and that you talk about tracking is when I started adding up, I was like, oh, smokes. I had a good week.
Very exciting. Well, congratulations on your good week.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for turning everything in. I will say that so far in I'm going to give away two $50 Visa cards this month, and you get your name in the drawing if you order at least 350 wholesale in the month. And so far, I've got Dawn and Cheryl and Jody and Laura and Debbie and Dre and Jennifer Conway in the drawing so far, and we're just halfway through, so that's kind of exciting. And I will tell y'all, I was gonna go live, but I ran out of time. Um, but I will go live tomorrow, and I'm gonna do the drawing because we had 5-star consultants. So when we have 5-star consultants, I do $100 cash drawing. So I was so excited. So I was a Pearl Star, Jody was a Ruby Star, and Laura and Dawn and Charlotte Thomas were all Sapphire Stars. So that means as well, you guys are all on target for 4-quarter star, which is at the end of the year, or at the end of the year, you can potentially win some of those fun little purse prizes, which I think is kind of fun. So, and I also, okay, I have to apologize to Dawn and Debbie. I have not forgotten. I do have fun prizes for you guys for your makeover contest stuff for last month. And I promise you, I'm getting them in the mail this week. I apologize that I haven't done that. It's been crazy, and I was gone all day yesterday going to that funeral, so I feel like I'm a day behind. But I promise you, I have not forgotten, and I will get those in the mail because I have them. I just need to mail them. So that'll be kind of fun. And then the stars are also earning, everyone that was a star consultant are also, I'm going to purchase the fall trends report from Miranda Rains. And so if you were a star, I'm emailing you that report this week. So that'll be kind of fun. So that's your fall um, star prize. So I will email that to you guys. So, and I will tell you, I was talking to Heidi Plank yesterday, and we talk about star, but we don't talk very much about what do you do with all those points that you get? And so it seems like most of us kind of let them stack up, and sometimes maybe we even forget them. But I wanted to tell y'all that Heidi told me yesterday that she has been, really keeping track of her points because they don't go away after a year. Like you can keep racking up your points. Y'all, she's getting all new kitchen cabinets and kitchen countertops from her star points because she saved them up and she got a Home Depot gift card and she is redoing her kitchen with her star points. So there's lots of things you can do with it. Like if you're like, and there's a million things out there. And so I thought, well, I need to make kind of a goal because I just don't pay attention, to, oh yeah, I have this many star points. And if you ordered 600 wholesale in the month of July and August, you got an extra 400 points to your thing, which they haven't loaded them yet on our recognition page, but I think they'll be there probably by the end of the week. So, so that's kind of an added bonus, but I really want to get a new like air purifier because I have these dogs. And there's a Dyson out there that takes quite a few points, but I thought, that's something I can like pay attention to, if I'm going to be a star and try to have a goal as something I want, and that takes quite a few points. So I may have to, go a few quarters to get that, but that would be exciting if I didn't have to pay for that. And I got myself a new Dyson air purifier. So, I mean, it's a good idea if you're hitting star, if you're thinking about hitting star, to kind of go out there and look and see, well, what would I use those points for, and what would be the benefit? So, I am not encouraging you to be a star if you're not selling the product. I encourage you to sell the product and be a star for sure. I don't ever say just order it to be a star. I encourage you to sell $300 a week every week consistently so that you can be a star. So I want to make that clear, but it is kind of nice to set a goal and look at something that you can get with that. And I thought what Heidi did with it was, I mean, she's like me, I'm very practical. I would do something practical like that, but hey, that saved her a lot of money. So as Jody knows, as she's redoing her kitchen right now. So anyway, but does anyone have anything they'd like to share that's been good this week? It can be a Mary Kay thing or a non-Mary Kay thing. Anything you want to share that's been positive?
Hey, I don't know that I'm going to share anything, but I'm looking at my the star thing, and the 400 points is there.
Is it? Okay.
Okay, but the first quarter star points is not. So,
Okay.
So the
Okay.
July and August power up 400 points
Is
has
there.
been added.
Okay.
But the star, the star has not, points have not been added.
I think it usually takes a few days.
Yeah, and I originally had said that I was going to do dishes, and I ended up buying my dishes. But there is oh, good grief, the stand-up mixer, the stand mixers.
Yeah.
So I've got that in my wish list, and I've got some other kitchen things in my wish list too. So I will share something positive. I last weekend was like just really busy, but I had given a gift to Margaret J. When we went to January Jumpstart, and all it was a little spoon holder that had a little bumblebee on it and said "Be happy," and it to sit next to your stove. Well, Saturday I saw her and she was just like, "Jody, that just brings me so much joy every time I cook and everything." Well, I had 2 of them, and I gave another one of them to a friend of mine at work for her birthday. And y'all, she texted me the same day with a picture of that spoon holder and told me how special it was to her and how much it meant that I would think of her and give her that. See, like I'm having tears. Yeah, we never know who we touch with what actions we touch. I mean, it wasn't, I've had those, I bought them. They were on clearance somewhere and I bought them with the intention to give them to somebody. And I just, every time I'd go to give it to somebody, it was like, yeah, no. And then it was like, whenever I gave it to Margaret, it was like, yeah, this will be perfect for Margaret. And then when I gave it to Anne, it was like, yeah, that'll be perfect for Anne. I didn't know who else to give them to, but God spoke to me. And anyway, that's my good thing.
Oh, that's very nice.
And I needed I needed the encouragement, so
Yeah.
it was good.
Yeah, that's good. God works things out like that. Anybody else have anything good to share? Okay. Well, all right, let me make sure I haven't missed anything. I did want to remind you, it doesn't feel like it should already be by now because our new products just came out yesterday. Everybody can order the new fall and holiday products now, and I had kind of encouraged some of you to wait till today at least because if you weren't already a star, then you might as well start today so that you could potentially be a star this next quarter. And this is kind of a great quarter to be a star because this is the fall. We're selling Christmas stuff. The deadline is December 15th before Christmas, so it's a great time. But I wanted to remind you that the next preferred customer deadline for the books that will mail for the winter products, that deadline is October 1st. So that's 2 weeks from today. And if you want to sign your people up for preferred customer program for the books that will be mailed November 7th, which those still come out before Christmas, but those are the winter books. And I kind of mentioned to you guys early on in the month kind of what was coming out, but we do have some more products coming out. So regular line and limited edition. So just didn't want you to forget about that. And I'm going to do product knowledge tonight. And before I go forward with it, let's see, where did I put my product that I was going to do? Oh, it's right here. And I'm not, okay, there it is. Okay. But, well, before we go ahead with this, can I ask you, Dawn, to do product knowledge next week?
Yes.
Okay.
I figured my turn was coming up.
Yeah.
I already thought it in my head.
Yeah. All right. Well, you can be thinking about what you want to do. But I sometimes I get off and I don't plan for the next week and then I run out of time. So I've got you down for next week for sure. And what I wanted to do, which we talked about this a little bit, but I also wanted to relate it back to if you're doing the samples, with the Tandy Fisher thing, which I was going to tell y'all. I don't know if you guys have been following the top directors that are been on the trip in Budapest, but the regular trip ended and then now the extended trip is on. And the extended trip is if you've done, I can't remember where you have to be, 650,000 maybe, I can't remember. Extended trip means you did even more. I can't remember what it is. Okay, you may be right, Jody, because I think it's 600,000 for a trip, and so that would make sense. Extended trip is 750. So those are the people that have either hit million or close to million. So Tandy Fisher is on the extended trip. So I thought that should give us a little, she obviously knows what she's doing. But I was thinking, because the company did come out with little samples of all the new concealers and the new under eye corrector. I have a lot of questions often about under eye corrector. So this is the new under eye corrector, and it comes in 2 shades. So it comes in light peach and deep peach, depending on your skin tone. Most of my customers are going to fall under the light peach. And so I was looking today to see if I could find any cute little card or something to staple the sample to, and I couldn't find one that someone else has already created, so I'll figure that out. But I don't know if any of you guys have ever used, it's called Peony Graphics, Peony Graphics. Now you have to pay for a lot of the things that she does, but she also has a whole section of freebies, and she has there's things that you can print off on there, that is like that you could put your samples in. Like it's a card. You could do it in a card stock or you could do it on regular paper, but she's got stuff for skincare samples, those kinds of things if you wanted to. And you can do a lot of the free stuff. You don't have to buy. But anyway, I want to put the samples of this in with all of my reorders. And then I also thought I would go back and see who all buys under eye corrector from me now and send them a sample of the new under eye corrector. So I think the biggest difference with this is that it's infused with licorice extract, which is shown to reduce it's shown to reduce a key cause of discoloration and helps brighten the under eye area. So that would be, to me, the biggest difference between our other one and this one. This one also doesn't have the doe foot applicator. I also found, like, when you squeeze just a tiny, you just need a tiny little bit. You can squeeze out too much. So you just need a small amount, and it immediately neutralizes and color corrects blue, purple, and bluish under eye dark circles. So I always tell people to stipple it just right on wherever you have that bluish dark purple area. It says that the licorice extract is the key ingredient. It's frequently used in skincare to reduce a key cause of discoloration and help brighten the under eye area. It also contains vitamin E, a powerful antioxidant naturally found in skin to help fight free radicals, and plant-derived glycerin, a well-known humectant that helps increase skin moisture. So I think that's why it kind of helps under that eye area where it's not really getting into your lines and looking dry and yucky, because it also has that glycerin in it. So I feel like this would be something a lot of customers would be a good upsell. I want to tell a lot of customers about it. So I haven't decided. If I can find a cute little card to put it on, I will. I mean, for some, I may just print off, the first page of the product fact sheet, because that tells them right there that it has the licorice extract, and so I don't know, I'll have to decide, but I do, because it's a small little sample, so I don't want them to miss it. So I want it to somehow have something. So I was trying to find something that somebody else created, didn't find it yet. So if I create something, I will let y'all know or send it to you. But I thought that might be one of the products I could just focus on for the next, couple of months, or at least the next month, as a sample that I would give to all my customers, but especially those that are already on under eye corrector, or, everybody that is buying reorders or whatever. So anyway, I think this could, and you want to kind of get the people that are on the other under eye corrector not to be too concerned. I really think this is going to be better. I think it's going to work even better. Yeah, I know. Kind of like Navy Bean. We have Navy Bean in our products too, Debbie. So anyway, that's kind of my little product knowledge, but it was kind of led into the Tandy Fisher thing a little bit too. So I want to talk a little bit today about really just how we're practically working our Mary Kay business on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. Like when we get up every day and we have a plan, if you do a weekly plan sheet, what is on there that you do daily? So I would love input, especially from you guys that are working on a consistent basis, which most of you guys all are on here. But I think we could help each other. What do you feel like you work your Mary Kay business? I would like to know, do you feel like you work it daily, or do you choose certain days of the week that you work, or how do you do it? I would like to know, and I'm going to give you guys some thoughts on what I do, but I would like to know your thoughts.
I am definitely not a daily person, even though in my mind I want to be.
Yeah.
So
You kind of, don't you think, Dawn? I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, you kind of come up with what you want to focus on, though, for the month, right?
yes, for sure. For sure.
So you definitely hit it weekly.
Mm-hmm. I do.
And
And
do you feel like you work, and you don't necessarily, because you travel a lot and you have flexibility. So do you feel like you work the same days every week, or it just truly depends on your week?
it truly depends on the week and other commitments that I may have made.
Mhm.
So I wish I could get better at some consistency, but the reality is, going back to the values thing that
Yeah.
we did, that exercise, I mean, I just know I need my freedom and flexibility and know what my core values are, therefore priorities.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Does anyone else want to share kind of how they work? Do you feel like you hit it daily? Go ahead, Debbie.
I'm not sharing how I work. I'm sharing how I don't work. I,
Okay, that's okay.
I have always, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I need to change things around, a little bit. But I kind of always fit my Mary Kay in between everything else I do because I do a lot of different things for a lot of different people. And I don't do it daily. And if I would at least look at our website daily, I think would help me a lot because they have different stuff on there all the time, or at least at the very least weekly, because I go on there when I think about it and have a minute or something. But I really do need to figure out what it is I want to do, because what I wanted to do this month, I didn't even start. And so I thought maybe I would just get started as soon as I can. I wanted to make a contest again, and I'm going to use that same kind of color and some of the the colors that we got, because I bought a bunch of regular product to use since we didn't have a bunch of samples. And so I want to use some of that. And I just, I really need to know how to use Canva. And I need to just go on the internet and spend a day and take a break when I need to or something, but to do something like that. And then once I do, I always seem to have something to give someone, or something for them to want them to do it more. And I think I get a lot better response from that when I have something like that. Because if I just say, oh, we need to do a facial, we're going to do this and stuff. No, I'm going to get around to it, and they have this and that, and they put it off. But if I say, this contest is in 2 weeks, we got to get in here right away, then they do come more, faster and stuff.
And you were going to do your own makeover contest, right? And
Right, because that did well for me. I like I said again, I did 2 weeks, and then the next 2 weeks next week I didn't have anything going. I
mhm.
didn't like make sure I had something the following week, and then when I started doing the following week, the people that I had both had emergencies and still haven't booked yet. So
So do you know, are you going to like pick a winner, or are you going to give a prize? Like, how are you going to do that?
I'm going to give a prize.
Okay.
When I go do a vendor event, I always put a prize that I'm going to pick a prize for the month.
Okay.
So I always do that. And I was trying to remember who I gave what last August, and I don't remember anymore. I've got it written down somewhere. But yeah, it seems like my life is always chaos, and I don't really like it that way anymore. But it's because I help so many people all the time. I helped church yesterday, and I wasn't feeling good last week, and I went to take care of my Aunt Bobby yesterday, and all that stuff. So I don't want to take time telling you my
Yeah.
schedule.
Yeah. Well,
But
and we can kind of talk about that a little bit.
I need to make it more of a schedule of what I'm going to do. And you're right. I think I can't do it all the time, but I think if I made out that weekly summary sheet so that I could figure out more. I made out a calendar, and then I didn't add Mary Kay stuff to it. I just put all the stuff that I had to do.
Mhm.
And I need to figure that out better, when I'm going to
Okay.
do what, instead of just sitting down and calling people all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh, I'll do that right now. I've got time to do that right now. And I need to maybe pick a couple of days. I always used to always do it on Tuesday. And
Mhm.
lately it's not worked out that way, but just kind of lately I was doing everything on Tuesday before, but I need to do more than just Tuesdays.
Mhm.
And I need to do more like you. I write down everything that we do on a meeting, and I never go back and look at it. I mean, I shouldn't say never, but not very often. But writing things down makes me remember things more. I don't know about everybody else, but
Yeah, it does me too. But
yeah,
you
I
do,
would like to. I need to do something better than what I'm doing.
yeah. Okay. Anybody else have any way that they work daily, weekly, or monthly? Okay, so, you know, I don't feel like you have to work Mary Kay. Well, you work Mary Kay the way you want to work Mary Kay, but it does depend on what your goals are. So, depending on what your goals are, you know, is going to affect how often you work Mary Kay because you may need to work more if your goals are higher, but you don't need to work Mary Kay all of the time and ignore whatever your other values are. So, what I did a few years ago is I kind of came up with what would be generally, if I was just a general consultant, maybe I didn't even have huge goals, but I was trying to figure out a way to be consistent. You know, Tammy Craig always talked about her mental bath. So the little things that you needed to do every day, which I do believe that there is some value in doing mental things that help us. So either that's, you know, for me, I'm pretty involved in my Bible study, and I feel like I'm so involved in that. I get a lot from that for my mental stability too. But for some people, it's listening to a podcast every day. For some people, it's reading a little bit in a book every day. Something that kind of just helps you stay positive and uplifted because, you know, you're going to have disappointments or things aren't going to go well. So I do feel like that is really kind of important to do something every day. And I know for me, I've also found that physical exercise is very important for me to be mentally okay. So I was laughing because I have a girl dog and a boy dog, and the girl dog can be a little grumpy, which my husband thinks that's funny that she's the one that's grumpy and he's all sweet and nice. Anyway, but I had been gone all day yesterday to the funeral, and so I got home and she's just kind of snippy, my little dog, when she hasn't had her exercise. So I took her out for a walk, and then she was better. And I'm like, that's kind of how we are too. It may not be a huge thing. Maybe it's a 15-minute walk. That's all she needs. But and it's outside, which I do believe, I'm not an outside girl. You guys know I'm not an outside girl, but ever since I got these dogs, I have been walking with them outside every day. And I do think there's value in getting outside. So for me, that helps me mentally. So, but that, you have to determine what helps you mentally. But I think because all of you guys do other things besides just Mary Kay. It could be a full-time job. It could be a volunteer opportunity. It could be, you help take care of family. You do other things. So it's not like we're just sitting around just doing Mary Kay. So you have to figure out how to balance all that. And so I think daily mental is good. I also think it's not a bad idea just to get on Mary Kay in Touch one time a day. They now have put, I don't know if you guys have noticed, they now have put the news up higher. You know how you were having to scroll down? They put a little box up there now that you click, because it just seems like Mary Kay is, they're making changes frequently, and there's things that they're letting us know. And so that could take you 5 minutes maybe to go in there and just see what's going on with Mary Kay. I think that doing that daily is not a bad idea, or at least 5 days a week. The other thing is, we've been talking about doing this Tandy Fisher thing. We've been talking about doing the layering sheet. I think it's important, if you are utilizing those things, you really have to kind of touch them about 5 times a week. You can take your days off, but if you are really tracking something, either how many new people you're getting, how many bookings you're doing, how many, what customers are buying what, if you're doing the Tandy Fisher thing, you're layering. If you're in the process of recruiting new people, you're layering. I have that in my notebook, and I haven't been as good as I should have been to get started, but I'm working on that. And I feel like touching that at least 5 days a week, just seeing where you are, because then it's a real visual to you of, this is where I am. And one of the things I did when I was first building, I didn't want to work a ton of hours a week, but I wanted to move forward. And so what I did was, there were certain days that I booked, and I did try to make an appointment with myself and put it on my calendar. So unless it was an emergency that someone else had for me, that was my appointment to book. And so that meant I had an appointment. I couldn't stop what I was doing to go do other things because that was my appointment for my business. That was when I booked. Because if you're a person that helps a lot of people, you get pulled this way and that way. And sometimes you do need to go. But if you can generally say, you know, this is when I book, or this is when I am reaching out to customers or doing follow up. So I would pick one day a week that I spent booking, and my whole goal when I was building was at least one new face a week, or at least one face a week. And so, and typically even now, I mostly work because it seems like most people want to book on Saturdays. So I work a lot of Saturdays, but that because that's when most people seem to want to book. I do evenings sometimes too, but and if they'll come during the day during the week, I have certain days I'll do that. But I still try every week to put makeup on somebody's face, you know, skincare or makeup. And so even if I'm not doing 10 faces a week, if I am every week consistently putting makeup on someone's face, you're moving forward. I think sometimes what happens is we go, and then we get burned out and then we stop. And then we have to get started again. And we go, and we get burned out and then we stop. And so it's harder to get going again. So you have to figure out for yourself, what can I consistently do? You know, is it this many faces in a month? Is it this many faces in a week? You don't necessarily have to touch Mary Kay every day, but I do get a lot of reorders. So often every morning, that's the first thing I do is make sure I fill all my orders, whether I'm mailing them that day or delivering them that day. And I'll tell you guys, I'm not the best at this. Roxy is really good at this. She's always had a delivery day, and she delivers 2 different places in Kansas City. And so like one day is her delivery day in this part of Kansas City, and one day is her delivery day in this, and she sticks to it. And if they can't do that delivery day, then she mails it or they pick it up or whatever. I'm not as good as she is in that, but I do know, like, I'm going to be on this side of town on Wednesday. So I don't usually answer the phone. I let customers text me or call me and tell me what they want. Then I look at my schedule and I say, okay, I'm going to be on that part of town that day. So I may deliver 3 days in a week, but I try to do it when I'm going to other places. So I'm being more, so I'm doing better with my time. Otherwise, I could be dropping and delivering and dropping, delivering, and you can waste a lot of time with that too. So I'm not as good as Roxy in that, but I think that that's really important too, because you can, you know, HDK doesn't deliver any product. She doesn't think you should deliver any product. I'm not there. She mails everything or they come get it. She does not deliver because she thinks it wastes a lot of time. But it depends on how many customers you have. And I do have a lot of customers, but I do try to deliver if I can, because I feel like that's a time when I can build a relationship with that person. And some people I do just drop it on their porch and they pay me Venmo or whatever. But you know, you have to factor that in. So daily, mentally, check your Mary Kay in Touch and update your sheets. I mean, I think daily that's important. And then weekly, figure out when you're going to book. I remember when Laura was first starting and they were still running their air conditioning business. She's like, I got to figure out how to do this, but still work in the air conditioning business every single day. And so she just decided she wanted to be a star. That was her goal, but she would do, I think she did one time a month. She did muffins and makeovers at her house. And she always booked on Wednesdays. So she spent an hour booking on Wednesdays. One time a month, she did muffins and makeovers at her house. And she did that consistently and she became a star. So you have to decide what works for you, but I think weekly booking is part of it if you're wanting to move forward. I would encourage you to check our Facebook page. I try really hard. Yes, and she became a red jacket pretty fast, actually. I would check, I try really hard I don't post it always at the same time, but either Sunday evening or Monday morning, you know, just revisit our Motions Bright Stars Facebook page so you can be reminded of what we're doing that week and what the deadlines are and all of that. Yeah, Dawn, that's kind of how I am. And it's funny, she'll tell me, you're never going to get ahead if you keep delivering product. She'll tell me that, but I feel like there's ways that you can save time. Yeah, and there's ways you can save time in doing it, so I try to do that. And I know for a while, Meredith had her assistant delivering her product, but you just have to really trust that person. And I think that was hard, that was hard to have someone else deliver it too. So I really like to do that. But anyway, I would say weekly, try to plan your week. If the thing is, and I know you need freedom and flexibility, but if you kind of have like 1 or 2 days, or you're like, those would be my booking days, or I know that I can always book on this day, set that as an appointment for yourself. Or if each week is different, then look at the beginning of the week and figure out when that booking is. And so every week you should have a weekly plan sheet. You should do your weekly accomplishment sheet. You should check our Facebook page. You should have time for booking. And you can decide how often you want to do faces. I want to do them every week, but you could decide, I know Megan, the new consultant, I noticed she posted on her Facebook page that she's going to have customers come to her house once a month. She's going to do something at her house once a month. And you could do that. You could say, this is skincare, or this is a spa day, or we're just going to do color makeovers, or you could make it whatever you want. It can be a fall open house. You could decide once a month that's what you're doing. And then I do think, and we'll talk about this more at the end of the month, but I do think it's important to do your financial paperwork every week, which that includes your weekly accomplishment sheet, looking at how much money you're making, paying yourself correctly so that you know that you're paying yourself for your profit, all of that stuff, and all your follow-up. So like I had 2 faces a few weeks ago that I need to follow up with, and I put it on my calendar because they bought full skincare sets. So I want to follow up with them and make sure they're happy. But you could follow up with people that aren't even just full skincare customers. If they're brand new to you, follow up with them in 2 weeks and follow up with them in 2 months. And you've got to put that on your calendar in some way so you can remember. Otherwise, you don't really remember. And then monthly, what I do is I print off my birthday list off of the computer, because I always try to book people whose birthdays are that month. And so I print that once a month, because that's where I start when I'm booking regular people. Because I was looking at my birthday list today again, and I've got some people on there that haven't had a facial in a long time. And I have a few people on there that haven't really been buying. So I'm like, you know what? I need to follow up with them and see, do I even need to keep them on my customer list? Or maybe they need a refacial. So it's almost like a new customer when they haven't been buying in a while. And then monthly, I want to set my goals. Like, is it how many faces I'm doing it? Is it how many new customers I'm getting? Is it a certain profit goal I have to hit? Is it that I want to share the opportunity with a certain amount of people? Sometimes that's something for me personally I'm not as good at, and I need to remember that I got to work full circle with everyone. And so anytime I meet with someone, I need to include that as part of what I'm doing with them. And then if Star Consultant is important to you, where are you on your Star status? You should be looking at that every month to see how far away am I and how much more do I have. So what else would you guys add, or what other thoughts do you have about what you could set yourself up for, weekly, monthly, daily, that would help you move forward?
Well, since you just gave us such a comprehensive set of ideas or plans or options, I don't have anything more. I was really loving listening to all that you were sharing on this. So,
Well, and you know how you can decide, like for me, I try really hard to every Monday get prepared for meeting so that I'm not running around on Tuesday afternoon trying to be prepared for tonight. I'm still working on that because I've had a tendency for it to be Tuesdays for so long, but I decided I wanted to plan ahead. And so I literally put it on my calendar on Monday morning. So I'm trying not to make doctor's appointments, other appointments on Monday mornings because that is my time to prepare for unit meeting. And I'll say Linda Tupin used to say that Lisa Matson made more money than her because Lisa Matson used Thursdays for 25 years to follow up with her customers. She called it Follow Up Thursday. And Linda Tupin is very organized, but she said, I was never very good at that. And Lisa Matson has made more money than me because she did Follow Up Thursdays for 25 years and made sure that she followed up with everybody that had been purchasing from her. Were they using the product? Was it working for them? Anybody she had talked to that said they were going to have a facial but it hadn't got booked, she followed up with them. Anyone that she talked to about the opportunity and maybe hadn't heard back from them, she followed up with them. That's what Lisa Madsen did on Thursdays for 25 years. And she's like one of the top nationals. So, not everybody is going to function that way. Laura is a real structure person and likes systems. I really like systems, but some people function better when they have a little more freedom and flexibility. But I feel like you do have to have a plan for the week, even if it's not the same plan every week. I think otherwise time goes by. So any other thoughts, ideas, or things you want to implement or change, or things you already have implemented?
I think that if you had something daily, like you were talking about, and that you want to do, and I am a person who have to plan, or it's not going to happen. And I think doing something daily helps, even though you've got other stuff to do. If you just do that one thing would help a lot. And I think having a day to do certain things would help. And I don't know about, I guess the weekly summary sheet really kind of makes it all up, but including on that sheet, you have like your facials and stuff, but I think you should maybe make another sheet of just stuff that you're going to do that week.
Mm-hmm.
That you
Well,
want to
that's
include
kind
every
of,
week.
I use my, we've talked about our brain drain.
Yeah.
So in the same notebook that I have my layering sheet and on my Tandy Fisher, I have my brain drain sheet. And that's everything I have to do in like the 4 major areas of my life. But I can't do all that in 1 week. So I take from that sheet, and as I think of things, I add it there. And then from that sheet at the beginning of the week, I figure out what are the, 3 most important, Mary Kay always said, what are your 6 most important things? I have a little bit more than 6 generally, but what I try to do is what are the 3 most important things in Mary Kay that has to be done this week? What are the 3 things in my personal life that has to be done priority wise that fit in my values? What are the 3 things, and then I take from there and determine what I'm going to do for the week. And so that takes prep. Like every single Saturday, I prep my meals for the next week. I order my groceries on Saturday night and I pick them up on Sunday on the way home from church so that I already have my meals prepped and I have all my food that I'm going to need for the week, because I used to wait and do it on Monday. Well, everybody goes on Monday and it gets busy. So I started doing that on the weekend, which sometimes I don't want to because it's the weekend, but it makes my weeks go so much better. And so, I started doing that a long time ago, and because I'm real trying to eat a certain way and everything, I'm planning those meals, and that helps. So it's the same thing. So because it helps me run my business better if I'm not having to figure out what I'm making for dinner because I already know what I'm making for dinner. And then I'm not one of those that necessarily preps all the food on Sunday, but I do have all the food in my house so that I have it for the week. And then if I need a thaw meat or whatever, I try to do that ahead of time, and I already know what I'm making on Wednesday. So like tonight, I got some chicken and put it from the freezer to the fridge because I know I'm going to have chicken the way I planned it. We're having chicken the next 2 nights in a different way, but chicken the next 2 nights. So I put the chicken so it's thawing. So, just things like that, because that takes energy away from me building my business if I'm trying to figure out what to cook. you know, because I do cook almost every night for dinner. So, not necessarily major gourmet cooking. Like, I'm not as good a cook as Jody, but I cook. Well, when you show your pictures of what you cook and the food that you've brought me, you definitely are a good cook. So, anyway, oh, and Dan is speed teaming through the parking lot. Yes. So anyway, those are just little things that if you have structured in your life, make it easier to run your business because we have other things we have to do. And it is important that you take rest time. I mean, you know, I actually have chosen this Saturday not to book anybody because I am kind of tired and I've had a lot of bookings and which has been great, but I thought I want to spend the time in booking and doing some stuff so that I have October really booked up. So, and you know, when I went and moved my son to New York, I already knew before I left, because you know, we do the monthly schedule of what we're doing on Tuesdays and all of that. I already knew I was doing a girls' night out. I already knew I was doing a day of makeovers when I got back. And so I booked those. Yeah, failing plan. He was planning to fail. That's right. I booked those before I went to New York. And then I did some follow up and texting and stuff when I was on the way to New York because my husband was driving. And I was so tired when I got back. If I had not pre-booked all that, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have spent the time to book when I got back. But I had already booked it. So even though I was tired, it was worth it to do 6 faces for the makeover contest that one day that I had to do it because I had already booked it. So I was rather be tired with money in my hand than tired and I didn't get my bookings done and I had no money in my hand. So if you plan ahead, and so October is a prime time, like it's fall, we have all the new products, you want to start talking Christmas. So I want to make sure my October is really booked up. So I'm gonna make sure that I work on that this weekend and I'm gonna not do faces this Saturday so that I can really have things booked for the last week of September and all the way through October. So sometimes I have to evaluate and go, okay, I need a rest day or whatever. But and those of you guys that are working full-time jobs, it's hard. Sometimes you don't give yourself a rest day because you're working full-time job and then you work Mary Kay on the weekend, but you do need to still plan. I even try to pick one day a month where I'm just not delivering, I'm not doing faces, I'm not, you know, just having a little bit of a break, just to kind of recharge for the rest of the month. So
Just
definitely
one day?
do
Just
what?
one day is all you get?
Well, I definitely take off like Saturday evening through Sunday evening is definitely more of a break for me. I don't take as many calls. I don't, that's kind of my Sabbath. I go to church, but I will usually do my grocery list and stuff like that. But I tend to be going this way and that way all the time if I don't take a day to like not run somewhere, you know, no running errands, no going anywhere. So I don't have very many days where I do nothing. So
I think planning out your meals is a great thing. My mom used to do that, and I never do that. I
mhm.
didn't even think about it.
Well,
Because,
it's a lot of energy for me to come up with it if I don't already have it. And if it's already planned,
yeah,
there's a lot of energy. It's kind of like doing your weekly plan sheet. There's a lot of energy to do the weekly plan sheet. But once it's done, if you can follow that, it makes your rest of your week go way better.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other thoughts? Because I didn't want to do all the talking. I wanted, if you guys had any
Well,
other
I think
ideas or thoughts.
um,
Oh, yeah. Go to the store yourself to meet people. Yeah. I do pickup. Well, I pick up at Walmart, but I do go to United. So I do both.
I go to all the stores myself, and
Yeah.
that I even got 2 new customers, and I went to get my nails done, and I was so tired. My hair wasn't done. I had very little makeup on. And I said, I am so sorry. You know, I'm talking about Mary Kay when I'm not really dressed. And they're like, oh, that's okay. We like them. So I was like, oh, good. You know, so I'm
Yeah.
still trying to book those people.
Yeah.
But I always get dressed up and have my hair done and my face on and all that stuff. But I didn't that one day.
Yeah.
It
That
still
happens.
works
I think that happened to Alexandra too one day when she was out walking.
with my
Okay.
enthusiasm.
Any other thoughts, ideas, something that you're going to try to implement this week after talking about this? Got it all together?
I hate to keep talking. You keep saying,
Yeah.
you know, about talking, but, I do. I'm really glad that you said those things because I wrote them down and I started writing down 1, 2, 3, 4, what I was gonna do and what I was, you know, and stuff. And I haven't done a weekly summer sheet and I don't know how long. But
Yeah.
I always put things on my calendar and my phone, but that's not a weekly
Plan
plan
sheet.
sheet,
Mm.
you know? But
Sometimes
I think that's good.
the value of the weekly plan sheet too, if you really do it right, is you realize what do you need to take out of your weekly plan sheet, and then what are you not giving yourself enough time for? Um, yeah, Alexandra.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes we can overcommit ourselves too, and doing a weekly plan sheet helps you see where that is and
Yeah.
what do you need to cut out. And it goes back to what Dawn was saying, you know, make sure that where you're spending your time is truly where is you want to be spending your time and it's truly valuable to you. Because wherever you spend your time in one place, you're not spending in another, and it's up to you what's most important to you. But just something to think about. But I thought we'd kind of talk about this today in terms of our business, and hopefully everybody, if you haven't done what you've wanted to do in September, it's not too late. It's only the
Right.
16th. We're at the beginning of a new star quarter. You've got 2 more good weeks, and so you can get started right away. So now, does anybody have guests at 7?
Nope.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Next week for the guest event, I'm actually gonna do the fall looks.
Oh, okay.
And put them on. So if you have anyone that really wants to see like the new blushes, the new eye color, the new lip balms, I'm going to actually show them how to apply some looks and stuff. If you have anyone that's interested in that, that's what we'll do next week. And then the following week is bingo, and I will get you guys the bingo cards. My plan is to do that before the end of this week so that you have the link that you can give people for the bingo
Oh,
cards, because
good.
I haven't created that yet, but I will. And then Jody and I will be doing bingo that last Tuesday of the month.
Brilliant.
So we still have 2 Tuesdays for potential guest events. The one with last Thursday went well. Dawn had a guest on. It was a good event, and I think it went well. And we'll probably do another one of those Zoom events, like with Roxy and them. I bet we'll do one in November. So I'll keep you guys posted when we have the new products again. So anyway, and Jody got to present at that, and so that was fun. she was dressed up like Christmas. So anyway, okay. Well, I appreciate you guys getting on, and I appreciate your input. And I hope you all have a great week. You know, plan your work your plan, as Mary Kay said, and think what you can do consistently. Not everybody has to do the same thing. Not everybody has to work the same amount of hours in Mary Kay. It is what works best for you for whatever your goal is and what works in your life. So that's the exciting part of Mary Kay. But that just means we have to be disciplined. So, okay. Well, I guess that's all, unless anyone else has anything to add.
Thank you. It was great.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for being on and your input. And I hope you guys have a great evening and the rest of your week.
Okay. Thank you. You too.
Thank you.